We'll talk about that.
It's quite poor. Hello, my name's Ian.
Hi, I'm Jason.
This is the Sinners Review podcast, and so the way this normally works is we start with we've got any other business. If you haven't, whoops, that was Jason's phone. If you're listening to
Good
this,
start.
it's a good start. Let's try that again. No, I'm not going to start it again. It's fine. We've got. If you've never seen us before, you can watch this on YouTube. You can listen to this on all your favourite podcast streaming service, including the hated Spotify. But we've got so many other business from last week's podcast. We're trying to do it every week, and so far we've managed to do it every week.
3 out of 3.
3 out of 3. Although we're late this week because we should have recorded it on Friday, and today is Sunday.
I think Sunday might be the new Friday.
It might be actually, yeah. You've got so many other business, haven't you, from the AI bill? Do you want to do that first?
Yeah, really just kind of, I guess, we usually start with what you've been up to this week.
All right, okay, we'll do that
music
first.
And arts.
Okay.
So I've got some AOB there, largely because I haven't had a very productive week in the music and arts, not been to any gigs, not played any gigs. Did rehearse last night with Sona Vida. Getting a set ready for the next EMOM in Bristol, which is the 17th, so the week after next. We're both playing individually. All play synths at the Love-In in Bristol.
I've never been, but have you been?
No.
So looking forward to that.
So yes, we've got a new set, got some new material to play there, which will be good. Been doing that. That's as far as I've gone in terms of creative energy this week.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I've started. I mean, for those people that aren't watching this, but sat behind me is a TR8S, a microcosm effects pedal, and a Soma Terra, and that is what I'm going to be using for this set. I'm about halfway through creating it.
Good.
So it will be ready. It will be ready by the time I get.
We've got the usual 5 bangers.
5 bangers. So yeah. So that's what else have I done this week?
So I have.
Sorry, go on.
So as I've been back in the land of working and paying taxes, hence the reason for not being that creative. But I did keep my eye on the government use of data bill. It's been pinging backwards and forwards between House of Parliament and House of Lords. It was rejected in the Lords for the 5th time this week, or the week just gone, and it was pretty unanimous, 221 to 116. So it's been rejected back. The peers have delivered an ultimatum to the government, insisted on an amendment to the bill as it is, to force AI companies to really be transparent about the material they're using to feed their engines. So they're saying, there's no problem with using data, but you need to be transparent about what you're using and when.
Yeah, well, they're not going to do that.
No.
So our companies.
So it's definitely stuck at the moment.
So are they not doing anything about the thing where you have to, because currently you have to opt out?
That was the proposal, was that you would only opt out.
Yeah. So there's nothing about that.
So it's paused at the moment. So I think where they've left it, there's the Beden Kidron, the lady who we talked about on the last one. So she's kind of the driving force of the changes in the Lords. It's been kicked back now. It could be totally abandoned, which is rare for a bill to be completely abandoned. But the government has committed to publishing a report within 9 months around the future of AI and copyright. So it's got a bit of stay of execution, but I think it's going to run and run. Elton John's been very vocal as well. Everybody who's behind it have been very vocal about.
Yeah, I heard about Elton John and called him. He called people out, didn't he? Was it stupid or daft or anyway, something like that. Yeah.
So the 5th time it's been bound back. So we'll keep an eye on it, see how it looks.
Yeah. Well, so apart from setting up my set for Bristol, I've been buying stuff. I have bought some records. I went to the independent market and I bought three albums on CD. I bought
from Bjork.
Bjork album, which apparently it's a reimagining of, it's called Telegram, and it's a reimagining of her first album, Post, which I have got. It's really good, actually. Okay. Yeah. Remixes and all that sort of stuff.
Post was the one with Human Behaviour on. The one
yeah, actually, Human Behaviour isn't on that, I don't think. Or I didn't remember. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, there's no track listing.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Which is a bit weird. I also bought Future Sound of London, nice. ISDN, which is an album I didn't have because I've got the famous one, whatever it's called. I can't remember it. So Future Sound of London, always worth a listen. And lastly but not least, I bought Tomita's Snowflakes Are Dancing. You don't know that? No. Classic, early 70s, 75 is it? 76? It'll tell me here somewhere. 74. Classic 74 electronic album. I've always thought some of Tomita's work, and on this, is a bit twee. Some of the sounds that he uses are a bit twee. But it's the music of Claude Debussy that he's reimagined. Definitely worth a listen on Spotify, because I know you're a man who uses Spotify still. But
I went record buying actually yesterday. I went into Exeter, and they've got HMV there. Very good HMV, very big actually. Lots of vinyl. There's things in there that I haven't seen in other record shops. Okay. I picked up an album by Yukimi. She's the singer from Little Dragon. You remember Little Dragon? Electronic outfit. It's a really good album. It's my recommendation. So it's the first one she's done solo. She's been Little Dragon, so it's Yukimi, and it's called For You. I really liked it. Had it on streaming for a few weeks, and I went and bought the vinyl.
Nice one.
It was very nice. Yeah. Really
good. So the other thing that's been happening, Edinburgh Fringe program's arrived.
Which phone book?
It's more than a phone book. Three and a half, done just under 4,000 shows.
Wow.
I'm being bombarded with emails from people coming, because Jane and I are going to Edinburgh Fringe as reviewers, and because of that, they get our email address and they send us promo information, which is nice, but actually, we've got to sift through hundreds of emails, which we have we're only in the early stages of that, really.
And most of them generic MailChimp stuff, or do you get some personal ones in there?
Interestingly, the way we tend to work it is we do get a lot of generic ones sent to everybody. Some of you don't even say hello. The ones that don't say hello, they don't get thrown out straight. We stick them on the folder and then we'll start to go through them. Jane's already started to identify some that she wants to go to. If they're personal, we tend to we take more notice of them. Like some of them have been sent, and they said, "Oh, hi Ian and Jane, blah blah blah. We're lovely to come and see the show. It's from the 16th or whenever." Well, we're not going to be there. We're not going to only there for the first couple of weeks. Right. So Jane's replied to them saying, "I really like the sound of the show, but sadly we can't come and see you." So we're sadly dismissing them, and that's always the case now with Edinburgh Fringe. Annoyingly, the Fringe app from last year still doesn't work yet. I would be more. I bought 2 programs, one for Jane, one for me, because they were a tenner, and I will go through it in paper. But I prefer to use the app. But they need to step up a bit. It should, if you've launched this, the paper version, then your app should have been ready by now.
The digital accompaniment.
Yeah. And the app really works quite well. You can do it on the website, and that's okay. But I literally would do it. If I've got 10 minutes, I'd do it on my phone, look through something, and I would tend to go through. I don't go through children's shows because we don't go to them, but I'd go through all of comedy, all of theatre, all of music. Less so some of the sort of the clowning type stuff, Anyway, that's that. What else?
What's the date again? Basically all of August.
It's all of August. Yeah, it starts on the 1st, I think. So literally the 1st till the 28th. Doesn't actually go right to the end of it. What else did I do? I went to a black tie wedding on Saturday, and father of the bride was chairman of Newcastle. So there was a big football thing. Really quite a posh wedding for me, really. Not been to that many posh weddings, but the tables were all football stadiums. So we were looking around for a particular football stadium.
Okay. So there was threads.
There was, and apparently the groom was a supporter of Barnet, whoever Barnet are, and so it was very football orientated, which is fine. And it was, it was a big black tie. I mean, I don't think I've ever been to a black tie wedding before. Everybody's in dicky bows. I've got a dicky bow and I've got a wing collar and I had a 3-piece suit. So we dug that out, got a few mothballs out of it, and happy days, So it was an event. I'll say that much. So the thing that I need to pick up, any other business. I've only had one email because last week we talked about South by Southwest London, which was last week. It was about to start when we recorded our video last week. It's happened. It's been and gone, and there's been controversy.
Was it?
There
I've
has.
followed it this week.
Right. Okay. So I only got one email from them, which actually said something about, here's a recap of the first half of the week. It was Wednesday. There wasn't a recap. It was just headlines. You couldn't actually see anything, which was slightly irritating. So, and I looked at they've got a YouTube channel. Surprisingly, only 266 subscribers. Nobody is watching the South by Southwest London YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. He had like 15 views on a video,
wow.
Which is slightly, What we learned was what the controversy was.
So just jumping in, just as you say there, I've just gone to the one daily highlights from Friday.
Yeah.
46 views.
Yeah,
that's,
yeah. The big one was like
odd.
200 views, and that was the one I think that was linked to my email that I got because it had a link on it.
Wow.
So there were, just before it started, a journalist called Matt Kennard shared a screenshot of a leaked programme, right? And on that leaked programme, and the South by Southwest London had kept really quiet about this. They had ex-Prime Minister and potential war criminal Tony Blair talking. They also had Brexit instigator and pig lover David Cameron, apparently, as guest speakers. Sorry, that's been rather controversial. Actually, back to Tony Blair.
I just think of the first episode of Black Mirror. And
I know exactly. Yeah. Apparently, there's the Tony Blair thing. Apparently, it was Scotty Screens who did say that he's still a war criminal. So I'm not the first person to say that. So anyway, and I voted for the person, and they said no swore there. Anyway, they were booked to give talks on Monday and Wednesday. People got really, really upset about that because A, they kept it secret, and B, they kept it secret. Several acts pulled out of performing. We don't quite know how many, but at least 6 artists and bands pulled out of playing.
Wow.
And I've looked at 2 or 3 websites. Nobody knows exactly how many. South by Southwest London are trying to keep that quiet. Now, interestingly, last year, when it was 2024 in Texas, 250 bands pulled out, or artists and bands pulled out, because they had sponsorship from an arms company, I think it was. There was something a bit, I don't think I've written it down. Correction. Controversy comes after more than 100 artists and speakers pulled out of the 2024 flagship South by Southwest event in Austin, in Texas, after it emerged that the event was partnered with the US Army and defense contractors RTX. Both of those partnerships were not this one. So, if they've not taken their money. So the whole thing is not without controversy in the past, really. It is interesting that, they got Dave Cameron and Mr. Blair, and they kept it really, really quiet. What was the other interesting thing is apparently you could apply to give a talk. I only found that out this morning.
Okay.
So that's one way of not paying you £1,300 to go to the thing. Don't know how well it was attended. But yeah, so you could apply. It's a few months ago to actually go and give a talk. and then they would say yay or nay, I guess, really.
Was it the first time they've done it in London?
It's the first time I've done it in London.
Yeah, and
they're
not
moving
much
it around.
Coverage. Didn't hit the
No,
news.
it didn't.
Didn't pop up.
It didn't.
Whether that'll be it one and disappears.
But the organisation, the South by Southwest organisation, are clearly planning to do this probably around the world. I think maybe they're planning one in Europe somewhere.
Okay.
Don't know when, but I'm a bit like that about it. I think it's about money. I don't think it's. I mean, you could argue it's really about grassroots artists, but I'm not so sure it really is. What I don't know is, are the artists that have played, did they pay to play? Did they pay to be on? Some of them won't be. The bigger ones will be probably paid, but there's not a lot of transparency about the whole organisation, really. So I think it's all a bit suspect, if I'm honest. Anyway, that's my update. I don't think there's anything else. Should we talk about Taylor Swift?
I didn't expect that. Although it was big news in our house this week. Actually.
It was big news in my house. So I am probably Taylor Swift's oldest fan.
Okay.
Massive Swiftie. I've even done videos.
I'm not. My daughter is.
Yeah. No, I think give her a due. I don't like everything she's done. Certainly, what's happened is that let me give you the background. So this week she has bought her master's recordings for her first 6 albums, which gives her control over her entire catalogue for the first time. She signed a record label with a company called Big Machine in 2005 when she was 15, and as was customary at the time, the deal meant that the record label owned the rights to the master recordings. Now we've got master recordings.
So big cash advance.
Yeah,
they keep the master recordings.
They keep the master recording, and that's not
perpetuity.
That
was normal, certainly in those times with big record labels.
I think it's hopefully starting to move away from that, and she has highlighted that. She, as the songwriter, keeps the songwriting royalties, or a percentage of that depending on her publishing deal, but those master recordings did not belong to her. They belonged to the record label, so they really could do what they wanted with them. They were then sold in 2019. Scott Buscetta, if I pronounce it right now, sold those 6 albums to a guy called Scooter Braun. Now, Scooter Braun, talent manager, former record executive, businessman, investor in.
I think wasn't he Kanye West's manager?
It was Kanye West's manager, Justin Bieber, Carly Rae Jepsen, Black Eyed Peas. Okay. So he's one of them, really. Now Taylor Swift said that he was an incessant, manipulative bully. Clearly, there's no love lost between the pair of them. Okay. And then in November 2020, Braun sold the master recordings because she'd started re-recording her own albums. Now, the reality of her doing that then, if, say, a film company want to use a Taylor Swift song, they would probably use her version rather than the version that was owned by Scooter Braun. So he's not making as much money, and I believe he did make 100 million while he had those recordings. Allegedly, I don't know if that's true or not. So he paid 300 million for them, but he's made some money, and he will have sold them for more than that 300 million when he sold them to a company called, where are they? They were called Shamrock Capital,
who are owned by Disney.
Are they?
I picked up this morning.
Oh, I didn't know that.
In
right.
2020.
Yeah, 2020.
Disney were behind the company that purchased it.
So, and he did sell them for a reported 300 million. Okay, so and her original record label boss said, well, he gave her the opportunity to buy them. He didn't. She's categorically said that never happened. She wanted to buy them. She could clearly afford to buy them because she must be one of the richest women in the world, I would have thought now.
Probably is.
Anyway.
She made 2 billion from the Eras tour.
Yeah.
Of which I contributed.
I haven't seen it actually. I'm going to watch it because I've got Disney. I am going to watch it because,
I've just become immune to Taylor Swift because it's been on around the house for 2 years, so I kind of...
Yeah, I think she's a good songwriter. Like I said, I don't like everything she's done, but she's not every album's the same, so she's trying to do different things, She's
rumoured she paid somewhere like between 600 million and a
and
billion.
then a
to
billion.
get
That's
the
not
next.
true.
Right.
Yeah.
But if he sold it for 300 million a
yeah.
few years back, it's probably more like 600 million.
I think the reality is, because I've got links down below. One of them is to a Guardian article which said that wasn't true.
Okay.
The 600 million. I watched a little piece of news footage, and the thought was it was anywhere up to 500 million,
right.
which makes sense if he's, I mean, we'll never know probably. But
it's big bucks.
It's big bucks regardless. But she owns her own masters now. Whether she'll bother.
Well, she was re-recording one of the albums.
She was recording Reputation, which is one of my least favourite albums actually, and also that she hasn't done her debut album, which I have to say I've never heard. I think that's the country album.
Again, I don't know. It's all a bit of a
So
a blur for me.
I think good on her. That she's been able to do it, and it does beg the question that this practice of record companies, big record companies, owning the rights to master recordings in perpetuity forever, just seems wrong. What I think should probably happen is you've given an advance, so you need to make your money back, and you need to make some more money out of those recordings. So say you've done that and it's 10 years down the road, you've doubled your money on your initial investment and you're in the advance, then, and I know that some record labels do this, I think Mute does this,
right.
Where they will give the rights back to the artist, rather than sell them on to somebody else. It's bad practice really, but record companies have always screwed the artists throughout history. It's not, and it's still going on.
Right from Elvis. Onwards,
well,
right?
before that even, exactly. So certainly since the 20s onwards, artists have always been, Buddy Holly. If you look at a Buddy Holly record, Norman Petty is down as a songwriter on every Buddy Holly record. Didn't write a note. Just happened to be the guy that recorded him. He recorded him.
A slice of the pie.
He said, if you want to come record them and put them out, I want my name on it. So that's gone on forever.
How many cinnamon buns you had this week?
I've had no cinnamon buns.
That's a bad week.
I'm lying to you. I had, when I went to the independent market
in
Frome, we queued for
How
a
busy
coffee. It was heaving. I mean,
how many beanie hats?
Lots. Yeah, I didn't stay that long actually. Janie loves it, so I went down with Jane. What we actually do, I met Jane down there. I went down on the motorbike, and actually, because I wasn't going to stay that long, I would have cycled, but my leg's still a bit dodgy. So we arrived. We met up at the library. We then always go for a coffee at the same little coffee stall in the main street, right? And they had one cinnamon bun left. So we ordered our coffees, and by the time, because there was a big queue, I'm thinking, is that cinnamon bun going to be there? And was it there? Yes. And I had the one cinnamon bun that was left,
And I have marks out of 10. This is becoming a new feature.
It is actually, yeah. Cinnamon buns out of 10. I think it's a good 7.
Not bad.
The best one is Chocolatine in Walthamstow, and those people in London will know about Chocolatine. It is that is 10 out of 10. That's 11 out of 10. So if I go to Chocolatine, I usually buy 2 cinnamon buns at least.
So is that your dream? The podcast sponsored by
Chocolatine. Yeah, and we want free cinnamon buns, so we'll literally sit here and eat cinnamon buns. Right.
I'm going to ask you each week about your cinnamon bun intake.
That's fine. So I had one this week, and it was just at the independent thing. Yeah. So before we get on to the main topic, I'm going to stop it and just start and restart for part 2 because you're at 24 minutes.
Yeah, makes sense.